Hey guys, what's up? I'm just now getting home from work. I don't know if I'm actually going to upload this video. I probably will. I just wanted to make it real quick because it's something I really wanted to address, and I honestly just kind of word vomit right now because I'm actually kind of appalled. I'm listening to a podcast, right? And the Timcast podcast, he had this dude on, and they were talking about the whole thing with the votes in Philadelphia and how the poll watchers weren't given meaningful access, how they weren't actually in the room while the votes were being tabulated. They were like in a separate room where they couldn't see anything. And this is where the whole loophole comes into play, which is why it's kind of messed up. Anyways, essentially they were suing because they weren't given meaningful access, because they were in a whole different room, right? And then of course the judge rules on it, saying that, the code, I guess the election code or whatever like that, didn't specify the distance that the poll watchers had to be at, or what was the requirement for the poll watchers to be as far as watching and people tabulating. So nowhere in, I guess, this code, whatever that they have in this particular county in Philadelphia or whatever, or Pennsylvania, the code essentially is saying that, yeah, there's poll watchers, but there's no necessarily specification as to how far away they have to be. So that's kind of like a loophole almost, in a sense, where it's like, yeah, we'll have poll watchers, but y'all gotta sit in this other room. Why? Well, the code doesn't specify, so we can get away with it. And I guess the guy that Tim had on didn't understand how this was an issue. And I'm like, guys, look, I don't know what it is with us, with things in writing and paper, and there's a positive to these things, right? There's actually magic that happens when you take something that is a word or a palabra, you bring that out into paper, and there is some magic that happens there. But beyond that is basic human decency and just being moral and stuff. Just because it wasn't in the freaking voting code that the poll watchers had to be in the room while the other people were tabulating the votes, and because they used this as a loophole, from what it seems, to have the poll watchers not even be in the same room, so they can't tell if the people tabulating the votes are tabulating it, legitly. But because it wasn't in the code, it wasn't in writing, it doesn't matter. That is wrong. Okay? That is wrong. Just because it wasn't in the code or wasn't in writing, whatever, that is wrong. Okay? Because it doesn't matter what's written down. What's in here? What's in the heart? What's in the soul? Damn. What happened to basic human decency? And the dude tried to argue that this was okay. The dude tried to argue that it was okay that the poll watchers didn't have meaningful access. It wasn't in the code, so it doesn't really matter. Basic human fucking decency, okay? It doesn't need to be in the code. Just if a law said, that red was blue, or if a law said that the sky was red when the sky is clearly blue, or whatever like that, or I don't know, it can be red sometimes. That's a bad example. If the sky said, if there was a written law somewhere that said, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a decent example. I can't think of one because honestly I'm just mind blown. I'm mind fucked by it. It's there's good things that comes from things in writing and constitutions and codes and all that sort of stuff. But if they are written in a way that is immoral, if they're written in a way that if you just simply logically think about it with some basic human decency and common sense, even if it's not in writing, doesn't mean that it's not in writing. Okay? That's stupid. If this thing said, oh, well, it doesn't say in here that they have to be that, within your heart, you don't need to go to the code or to the paper to know that that's right or wrong. That's what I'm talking about. Come on, man. That's frustrating, man. That's frustrating.